Hi, Peter from freefincal, and in this video, let's talk about what you should do if you wish to quit your job and become an entrepreneur. And what are the things that you need to take care of in terms of personal finance, not for the business, but in terms of personal finance. So I was shown a series of articles by my friend, and that basically said that uh, the probability of an entrepreneurial venture becoming successful is actually higher when the founder is middle aged, and there are multiple articles that show that successful entrepreneurs are pretty old, and most of them are pretty old, and people like him are essentially an exception more than the rule. So this is one from conversation.com. There's another from Forbes, our older ones again. This is from CNBC that tells you they're all middle aged. Again, another one by what is this? Inc.com. Multiple have at business review. So many articles suggest that older entrepreneurs are typically more successful. So it's not like if you're salaried and gone past your 30s, it's not as if that's where you need to spend your life. There's a lot of scope out there. You can always change the way your life the way you want. There are plenty examples, and today it's very possible. What I wanted to talk about is, well, before I do that, you can guess the reason why older entrepreneurs are more successful. It's probably because of their maturity. They're more composed. They can handle risk much better, and they are also financially they will be in a solid position if they plan it well, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, it's quite basic. Most people who are regulars to freefincal will know what to do. One of the most favorite interviews of entrepreneurs I have heard is Bill Gates talking to Ellen DeGeneres, and he said that when he started Microsoft, when it was the size of a garage, and it started out of a garage and so on, he had 1 year expenses as a buffer. That is, this 1 year was not for his personal expenses but to pay salary. So that kind of a buffer in terms of for the business would make a big difference if you hit a rough patch. But and that's something that has always stuck in my head. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for entrepreneurs because coming from the kind of an academic background where you have a nice tenured job and so on, you have to respect people who put their put everything on the line month after month and not knowing whether it will be successful or not. All right, you can see that. You can just type on Google Bill Gates, Ellen, and you will be able to get those interviews. There are 2 or 3 interviews. One interview where he guesses the price of food products and gets it wrong, and so on. The very nice set of interviews. You can have a look at that. All right. So the basics are quite simple. You should have a solid life insurance. If you've just bought 1 crore, it may not be enough. You need to actually go ahead and calculate what you exactly need and get yourself a proper life insurance. You need a very large health insurance, a very good base cover, and a super top up cover. I would say at least 25 lakhs would be better for the whole family. You would also need a huge emergency corpus. I would say about 2 years of emergencies. Basic expenses for 2 years would be a good idea. You definitely should not be paying EMIs when you quit your regular job and become an entrepreneur. That's obvious. And I would recommend having expenses for 5 years. That is personal expenses, family expenses for 5 years. 5 years worth of family expenses in addition to the emergency. If you must have a net worth equal to at least 5 years. With your net worth, you should be able to fend for your family for 5 years while your business, hopefully grows. That's very important, and also planning makes a big difference. Since now there are ample examples that there's no hurry for you to drop your salary and try and think that your window is closing, or you won't be able to become successful later. What you can do is do it at 40, try it at 40, maybe even 45, but start planning for it at 30. And definitely you need to accelerate the amount you save. You may have to cut down a little bit on expenses and so on. But if you plan for it well, for example, you may have EMIs running, you can plan to close it, and in the last 5 to 7 years before you quit your job, you should not have any EMI, so that you can put maximum amount of money and build that net worth, so that you have that 5 years of income ready. So it's amazing that. It's so inspiring to read these articles, to realize that anybody can become an entrepreneur. Remember that I've been talking about having a secondary source of income in Monday Money Mantra. This is also inspiring for that. You can plan for your secondary source of income right now when you're 30, 35, so that when you become 45, it becomes a proper full-fledged income. Actually, it can even be 50 to 75%, even more of your equal to your regular income at that age. But if you plan for it and give it enough time and just persist with enough amount of self motivation, I think it's possible. It's fantastic. It's so inspiring to read these articles. I suggest you check them out. You can type in Google for successful entrepreneurs or older and something like that. You should get all these articles. That's how my friend directed me to these. So that's what I wanted to say in this video. Please make a checklist and plan for it. So I'll catch you again in another. Bye bye.